Why are you an anarchist or a communist? That's a question I get quite a lot. I'd say it wasn't a quick decision. It was something that occurred over a lot of years of contemplation. I recall I was coming to more socialist conclusions. I was reading more sort of left-wing stuff in relation to my politics, and then I finally read State and Revolution from Vladimir Lenin. I remember when I first ordered that book and read it. I can't lie. It had quite a profound effect on my political outlook and how I understood the state. I never saw that sort of sociological analysis of the state. I then sort of ventured off more into like anarchist thinking and council communist thinking, but just started living through life. It's just became quite apparent that fundamentally the economic system that we have isn't very fair. I mean, we spend 1/3 of our lives in workplaces that we have absolutely no control over. And, your workplace is the basic unit of the economy. It's an economic unit. And who's going to have more control over, or more democracy, quote unquote, in society? The people who have control over those economic units, or the people who don't have control of those economic units? I mean, I'm quite young, obviously, so I've not been alive for an incredible amount of time, but it does come across to me that working conditions aren't very great. I mean, most workplaces don't offer sick pay. For example, I had brain damage about January of this year, and I didn't get a single day of paid, of sick pay. That's the world we've constructed. Do you honestly think that it's fair that someone could have a head injury and not get sick pay? When I turn to the world, if I look outside my workplace, outside my workplace generally just across Britain, but if I go to a more global scale, the world is just rife with exploitation. The actions of imperialism have caused vast amounts of suffering. Even right now, today, we have multinational corporations being complicit in children being sent down into mines in absolutely terrible conditions in the Congo. We've already raised this to these corporations. Do you think by having a discussion with these businesses that they will stop? We've already protested outside Parliament. We've already made documentaries. We've already sent letters to MPs. We've already asked them to stop. It's like the profit motive just seems to override any sort of morality principle and any sort of democracy from below. Anarchism and council communism are about democracy. It's not about going around setting up gulags. It's about workers having control over their lives and over their working conditions. It's about having democracy in the workplace. I believe in, mass movements from below. I believe that people are capable of collectively working together to make decisions about our local communities. If you don't think that workers can run their workplace, then what does that say about how you think about workers? What do you think that they're not intelligent enough to run their own workplaces? I'm not a utopian about the world that I'm seeking to create. There'll always be some degrees of inequality. I don't think we can completely abolish classes. I think that's going to be very hard, but I think that fundamentally we can build something a lot more profound and a lot fairer than the current world that we've constructed. And I'm not prepared to give up that struggle to make the world a better place. And there's this really interesting debate between Max Nomad, who was a anarchist academic, and Hal Draper, who was a independent socialist who advocated for what he called socialism from below. You should definitely check out both of their works. Both of their works are quite interesting. But Max Nomad was very unoptimistic about socialism and about communism and about building a more fair and more equal society. So this is one of his quotes. "I remain a lone wolf philosophical anarchist whose sympathies go out to the poorest of the poor, struggling for more and more of the good things of life. But I feel akin only to those rebellious but politically unattached intellectuals who dream of justice and an equal chance for everyone. But know as I do that given the internal recurrence of the predatory elites and the incurable ignorance and gullibility of the masses, a privileged and educated minority will always rule and exploit the uneducated majority. Now after a century of struggles for better wages, the enormous majority of the workers still constitute an ignorant mass of near-illiterate, racist-minded tabloid readers, interested in nothing but sports, crime news and movies, and absolutely unable to understand what is really going on in this complicated world. It says emphasis added from Hal Draper's book, so he may have modified it slightly. And this was Hal Draper's response to these quotes, and this is near the end of the text, and I think that this really is really powerful stuff. Finally, let me propose a deal with Nomad. I'm more than willing to recognise one theory of inevitability, that it is an historically inevitable tendency that men will continue to fight for more and more control over their own lives and for better lives to control. No matter what new social system is won, that even under an advanced socialist democracy, at least into the indefinite future, the social struggle of the people will have to continue and will continue, even if on a new level. That there will be centres of privilege to be conquered and power to be socialized, even though my crystal ball does not tell me just where the lines of struggle will be drawn. A nomad can call the new enemy the masters if he wishes. In return, all I ask of Nomad is that he stop devoting his energies to telling today's fighters for a new society that nothing but you can't win. Yet in the crystal ball, I look forward to a time when the agenda is perhaps the abolition of the last remnants of state compulsion. I seem to see Nomad is still on the scene repeating, you can't win. I guess it's inevitable. Hey there guys, that was actually the end of that video, but I am now sort of formalising my video creation process and trying to build an actual schedule. So we did get a comment from one user who said, I like the Council Communist introduction videos. This video, though, feels like a U-turn, emotional, one-sided rant without any historical and theoretical analysis on agreeing/disagreeing with, for example, policies and theoretical justification of the USSR under Stalin's leadership you disagree with, especially on the national question. Was interested in hearing your thoughts/disagreements there, but oh well. There's no doubt there are problematic elements on the internet or movements. I could see that with the emergence of patriotic socialism in the US, that there might also be some in the UK. However, that does not reflect historical movement or current movements as a whole. So I responded to them, but we basically came to the conclusion is that the user is looking for a video that has my take or the Council Communist take on the national question, and they also would like us to explore the patriotic socialism phenomena. So they essentially want my take on patriotic socialism. So basically the schedule that I'm planning out for the next upcoming videos is the next video is going to be on psychoanalysis and the politics of the object relations tradition of psychoanalysis. So it's going to go through some basic concepts and theories of the British tradition. Then it's going to go into the British tradition and explain what its politics exactly are and how we should critique it as a Marxist. And then the video after that will be on the national question from Stalin. So that will be a critique of from a Council Communist perspective. So that's the schedule. I've now committed to it. Hopefully this is going to increase my video output, making a public commitment to actually respond to this comment and make another video. Well, anyway, guys, take care.